guys? My name is Max Calderon. His name is Chris Beasley, and welcome to episode 1 here on B&C Sports Network. We're so glad you've joined us because we have a lot to talk about on this first video. But before we get into it, here's how the show is going to work. We'll start off each episode with Puck Drop. That's going to be 6 questions, 3 for each of us. We'll go back and forth, taking quick takes on the latest sports news. After that, we'll each take a free throw, which is basically one big shot about the most relevant sports topic in our eyes. Following that, we'll go into rounding third, which will be any noteworthy off-the-field subjects, and then we'll finish things out with fourth down, which is our what to watch for, predictions, and taste of Baylor segment. So Chris, you ready to get this thing going?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Puck drop.
Eyeballing the board right now, just eyeballing the board.
Number 1, Tony Romo is retiring from the NFL and beginning a career in broadcasting with CBS. Rumor has it he's going right into the number 1 slot with Jim Nantz, replacing Phil Simms. Is this the right move for Romo's career, Chris?
Yeah, Max, I think it is the right move because, as we all know, Tony Romo's body is deteriorating, and, I don't know that he has very many snaps left on the football field. Honestly, going to the broadcasting booth is his best bet because, 1, he's still going to be really involved with the game. He's still going to be around it. It's not like he's just going out cold turkey and playing golf 5 days a week like a lot of these guys do. So, I think this is the right move. It sucks because a lot of people were really big Romo fans and wanted to see him keep playing, but all in all, he needs to do what's best for him and his body, which is honestly hanging up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Houston was still looking for a quarterback, but Romo's just not the guy. He's, 38 now?
Yeah.
Going on the end of his career. Let him go play golf 3 days a week and still get to call games on Sunday.
Hang out in the booth on Sundays.
There you go.
All right, so the Major League Baseball season is about 2 weeks complete. Max, how about you give us your early season impressions? Which teams and players have been sticking out to you?
Well, so far right now we've got 4 teams at the 10-win mark. New York Yankees, Houston Astros, Arizona Diamondbacks, and Colorado Rockies all have hit that 10-win mark. Some of those names might be a little bit surprising, but Yankees are red hot right now, and Houston looks like one of the top teams to challenge the defending world champion Chicago Cubs.
Houston's a great team.
Houston guy himself, there you go. I still think the Indians and Astros are the 2 teams to beat in the American League, and the Cubs and Dodgers will have another interesting NLCS rematch. And then as far as players go, George Springer looks like the MVP. He's leading the league with 7 home runs, tied with the Brewers' Eric Thames and Oakland's Chris Davis. Freddie Freeman from Atlanta is hitting a whopping .440. And then Bryce Harper, Marcell Ozuna, and Nomar Mazara are the top 3 in RBI. I think on the pitching side of things, Chicago's John Lester has allowed 1 earned run in all 3 of his starts. Clayton Kershaw leads the Bigs in 32 strikeouts. Chris Sale's been lights out, but only has 1 win to show for it. And then a sleeper name for you, the Astros' Lance McCullers. 1-0 with a 4.67 ERA, 23 strikeouts, a 1.27 whip. Numbers look good, not great, but I think everybody that I just mentioned, all-star this season.
I hope so. I'm hoping for big things from McCuller. He needs to bring together that Astros pitching rotation.
Astros Cubs World Series?
I'd be down.
I'm down too.
We could go.
All right, Kristaps Porzingis and Joey Bosa have each recently made headlines for not appearing at their team's meetings or workouts. Porzingis missed the New York Knicks exit meetings after the season, and Bosa was a no-show at the Chargers' voluntary offseason workouts. Should teams be concerned about this?
If I'm the Chargers, I'm concerned about Bosa because he held out because he was being selfish, and in the NFL you have a allotted amount of money you can sign with per your draft spot, and he kept trying to push it and get more than what he was allowed to get, and that's kind of a question mark to me. You're a rookie, you miss all of the offseason last year, you're now missing out this year, and as I believe, the Chargers got a new coaching staff, so he should definitely be in the facility working out with these guys, getting connected with the new coaching staff, and hopefully building on what he did last year, following up with the Rookie Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, the talent's absolutely there.
The talent's there. I'd like to see a little more work ethic out of him, but if I'm the Chargers, I should be concerned. Now, Porzingis, on the other hand, after the huge meltdown in New York this year, I don't blame him for missing exit meetings. When they tabbed themselves as a super team to start the year off and had, one of the worst 5 records in the East, I don't blame him for missing workouts. Phil Jackson was brought in to do good things for this organization, and he has yet to do that. Carmelo wants out. Kristaps, he probably wants out too. Well, I don't know that he wants out, but he's for sure not happy with what's going on in the front office, and I mean, I don't blame him. So, hopefully these two guys can figure out, what they're really going to do, and their organizations can get it all worked out. But if I'm the Chargers for sure, I'd be concerned. So, Max, with Sergio Garcia winning the Masters just 2 weeks ago, all the eyes were on Jordan Spieth and Ricky Fowler entering Sunday's final round. What's the bigger story here, Sergio winning or Spieth and Fowler collapsing?
Well, I think the bigger story here, and the one that's been more covered, is definitely Garcia's win. This is his first major victory after placing second in the PGA Championship and the Open Championship twice in his career, and his best finish at the U.S. Open was tied for third. So finally coming through, winning the Masters, defeating Justin Rose in that amazing and thrilling playoff on the final round.
That was amazing.
It was a feel-good moment for Sergio Garcia, but he's been kind of a polarizing figure in the world of golf. I think the story that's not being talked about enough is that collapse of Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth. They were each paired together on Sunday after starting the day at 4 and 5 under respectively, but they each had atrocious rounds, finishing 4 over and 3 over on the day. So obviously we know Jordan Spieth is a phenom. He's already won the Masters and another major to his credit. Fowler still hasn't gotten over that hump. He had, I think, top 5 finishes in all 4 majors in 2014, and then just can't seem to put it together. He's getting close, and he's a guy that we all like to root for, but these guys can't just pull it out lately.
Yeah, Spieth has definitely had a rough, 2 years after his collapse in the final round?
Yep.
And Fowler's a hell of a golfer, but, Sunday seems to get him every time. Sunday seems to be the death of him.
Don't call it a comeback, but Marshawn Lynch has agreed to terms with the Oakland Raiders, the team soon to be moving to Las Vegas. All that's left is for the Seahawks to release him, and beast mode is back. Does his potential addition make the Raiders Super Bowl contenders?
Max, I'm a huge Marshawn Lynch fan. I'm not going to try and hide it. I think if he were to go to the Raiders, they're a top team in the AFC. I think that they could go head-to-head with the Patriots, which, reigning Super Bowl champs, and they could give them a run for their money. Now, as of this morning, the Raiders have put a timeline to draft day to make something happen with Marshawn. So, that gives us a week. A week. And, hopefully they can make it happen because, one, Marshawn Lynch, I think, would love to play for his hometown Oakland team now Las Vegas. But being from Oakland, the Raiders formerly being from there, I think Marshawn would love it, and it would give him, a nice little homecoming to finish out his NFL career.
Obviously, they've got that great defense, Khalil Mack, a fantastic player. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, tons of weapons.
Some studs on that team.
I would love to see anybody with the Patriots in the next couple of years.
I could agree with that. All right, the United States have launched a joint campaign with Canada and Mexico to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Is this going to be an effective bid? And if so, will the tournament run smoothly?
I think this is a great idea for all 3 nations, the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, coming together and putting a joint bid out there for North America to host the World Cup 9 years from now. The tournament's going to be expanding to 48 teams from its normal 32, which ups the total number of games. And in 2026, we'll have 80, and the U.S. is scheduled to host 60 of them, including every game after the quarterfinals. Canada and Mexico will each get 10 apiece. So it's not necessarily like this is 3 countries and 3 different tournaments. We might have a pool here, a pool there, but the majority of it is going to be in the United States. And as we know, we have the capacity and the stadiums and the fans that are going to attend this tournament and make it a great big spectacle. Plus, in 2026, 9 years of development from now, we could see players like Christian Pulisic, DeAndre Yedlin, and Gideon Zalalem at the top of their game, and the U.S. could be contenders. I think it's a great idea, definitely something to keep an eye on, and an exciting time in the world of soccer.
I think the way soccer's grown here in the United States, it would be amazing to see the World Cup come to here, even if it is split between 3 countries.
Absolutely.
Got it.
All right, guys, now it's time for free throws. Chris, why don't you start us off with your big idea?
All right, guys. Well, Baylor forward Jonathan Motley has declared for the NBA draft, but he is not signing with an agent, retaining his NCAA eligibility. Being a close friend with Jonathan, I think that it's a very smart decision for him. Based on, he had a great year here at Baylor, but this year's draft is loaded with big men. And he was great this year, and he, put up career numbers. But the other big men that he's going up with, some say they're going to translate better to the NBA than he will, which that's no knock on him. It's just he has a different play style than a lot of these other guys. So, him not signing with an agent is great because he still has the chance to come back next year if he doesn't get the projections he wants. I'd love to see him come back and play another year here at Baylor, but at the same time, I'm supporting him and hoping that he does get to go fulfill his dream of playing in the NBA. Now, some other notable college guys that are testing the draft waters. Josh Jackson announced a few days ago that he is going to sign with an agent and go to the draft, and I think that's a great idea for him. He had a solid season at Kansas. Arguably one of the best small forwards in college basketball this year.
Should be a top 3 pick.
Yeah, and he probably will be. Lonzo Ball, he's also one and done. I don't know that this is the best idea for him, considering his crazy father's going to be right in the door no matter where he goes, and I'm not sure that he's mature enough to go play in the NBA or the rest of his family. But, I wish him the best of luck. And some guys that are staying, Grayson Allen said he's going to stay back another year and finish out his 4 years at Duke. Good for him after all his on-court problems last year. And a shocking one, Miles Bridges decided he's going to stay and play another year at MSU. Now, I watched Miles Bridges play a few times this year, and the kid can play. I was shocked to see that he was going to stay back and play another year because he has the talent to go in the first round. So, all these guys, they probably know what's best for them than we do, and I wish them all the best of luck.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the character of Miles Bridges, like you were saying, coming back for his sophomore season. Said he has unfinished business left in East Lansing, so under that great coach, Tom Izzo, Spartans could be a dangerous team next year. And then, like you said, Grayson Allen coming back. Talk about a polarizing figure at Duke. A lot of people don't like him. And as for our buddy Mott, we would love to see him back here in Waco, but we wish him truly the best of luck and hope he ends up with a good NBA team if that's the route he takes. For my free throw, it's going to be the NBA MVP debate. And we know this is a two-man race, but I want to give you some interesting stats here, Chris. I'm not going to name the players. Here we go. Player A, averaging 26.5 points per game, shooting 49% from the field, 2.7 rebounds and 5.9 assists per game. Player B, 34.5 points a game, 72% shooter, 7 rebounds and 3.5 assists. Player C, 28.5 points a game, 58% shooter, 8 rebounds, 10 assists per game. And then player D, 26 points, 52% shooter, 11.5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. If you had to pick just off those stats, who would you go with, A, B, C, or D?
I think I'm going to have to go with D.
D?
D.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Interesting name. He leads the Bucks in every major stat category except for assists. He's only half an assist behind Chris Middleton. As for the other players, Isaiah Thomas, Kawhi Leonard, and LeBron James. Interesting, you don't see any Warriors on that list. I think Isaiah Thomas is the guy that's kind of lost in the shuffle. He's had a great scoring year, but the other stats don't pick it up. Kawhi Leonard, obviously the Spurs with the third best record in the league. The guy's a winner. The team's a winner.
The Spurs and Kawhi, they're great, but, I think a lot of that comes from Pop, and Pop is a substantial coach. So, nothing to take away from Kawhi. I don't think that, the numbers are there, but I just don't think he's worthy of the MVP because there's so much done from a coaching perspective in that organization.
Absolutely. And then LeBron James, obviously regarded as the best player in basketball. Not really a debate about that one, but
he's had a rough season.
Yeah, not an MVP type season. So for me, when we talk about the most valuable player, that means the player who means the most to his team. Without said player, they wouldn't be nearly as successful. So in my eyes, that's one man. But we'll get to that in a little bit. The NBA gives the MVP to the best performing player on each season. And like we've mentioned, it's going to be James Harden or Russell Westbrook. So let's take these two stat lines and compare them. Westbrook averaging 36.5 points a game, only a 35% shooter from the field. 10.5 rebounds and 10 assists per game. He's averaging a triple-double. James Harden, on the other hand, 36 points per game, 44% from the field, 8.1 rebounds and 8.5 assists. Got a couple other weapons, a lot more than OKC does to work with.
Yeah.
So, in my eyes, Russ is doing it all for OKC. He's willed them to a 6 seed in the playoffs, where they're going to lose to Houston, no doubt. They're already down 2-0 in the series. But if you take Russell Westbrook off that team, OKC is nowhere near the playoffs. They're probably in the lottery on the upper half. there's no debate. Russell Westbrook is the MVP of the NBA. He broke Oscar Robertson's record with 43 triple-doubles in a season. That's unheard of, Chris.
I mean, that is pretty crazy that he was able to do that. But from Houston, I'm a huge Harden fan. And, we can go back to the beginning of the season when we were projected to not even make the playoffs, much less be a third seed. They said that we were not supposed to win the amount of games we did. James Harden, granted, I know people are going to say he's got more weapons, but, I mean, if you look, there's a lot of times that, he's not the one doing all the stuff. He's just being a team player and allowing all the other guys to do it. That's why, a stat that you don't have is that he was responsible for, 56 points a game based on him scoring or assisting to other players. So I think, it's going to be a great night whenever they pass out that trophy for whoever's going to take it home. All right, guys, welcome to our rounding third segment. It's time for some off-the-field news. As we all know, yesterday we woke up to the alleged report that Aaron Hernandez committed suicide. This is terrible. Even, regardless of what he did off the field, it's still sad to see that a former NFL player who is so highly touted while on the field has taken his life and is no longer with us. We wish prayers and condolences to Aaron Hernandez's family, and we also have prayers and condolences to those whose lives he affected.
In the world of baseball, Pittsburgh Pirates outfielder Starling Marte has been suspended 80 games by Major League Baseball after testing positive for nandrolone, performance-enhancing drug. This is a huge hit to the Pirates' playoff hopes, as he'll be out until after the All-Star break. If for some reason Pittsburgh is able to clinch a spot in the postseason, Marte will be ineligible to play, won't be able to be on the roster. For me, good on you, MLB, for sticking to your guns and not being afraid to suspend the all-stars of your sport. As we saw last season, Dee Gordon suspended for 80 games after also testing positive for a PED. So guys, rules are rules. Athletes aren't exempt.
Yeah, I agree with that. As many of these players, they're trying to find the loopholes and stuff to make themselves play better. Good for them because they want to do what's truly going to make them the best. But at the same time, don't compromise the integrity of the game by continuing to take performance-enhancing drugs that you shouldn't be taking. And so, yeah, I agree with you. Good to the MLB for sticking it to something.
4th and 1 from just across midfield.
All right, guys, so now here we have our fourth down segment, and here are some of the events that are upcoming this weekend in sports. First, we have El Clasico, which is Real Madrid versus FC Barcelona on Sunday. Barca is going to be without Neymar due to suspension. Max, you want to tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, you got a 3-game ban due to a couple of red cards, but this match, nevertheless, is going to be one of the more high-powered, one of the biggest events in European soccer. 2 heavyweights going at it. Going to be a fun one.
Should be an interesting one. Next, we have Baylor versus TCU baseball, and that's Friday through Sunday. TCU is the best team in the Big 12 and the number 6 team in the nation. Max, would you like to give us a little more on this series?
Yeah, well, it's going to be hard to pick against Baylor this weekend because, 2 Baylor students here, but it's nearly impossible to pick against TCU. All signs point to a sweep against our Bears this weekend. Baylor's going to need a stellar pitching performance out of their guys to shut down this high-powered TCU offense, and they'll also need to get big contributions out of a struggling lineup themselves. Freshman catcher Shea Langoliers and junior right fielder Cameron Estee will be the 2 main cogs in a well-oiled machine, needed to get a couple multi-hit games if the Bears want to win one. I just don't see it happening, even though the Bears are playing good ball of late. 3 wins out of 4 games the last weekend, coming off 2 out of 3 against UT and then beating SFA Tuesday night. The series is in Fort Worth. TCU just dominates opponents there. Just doesn't look good for our Bears.
Fort Worth, that's an awful place. All right, next we have the NBA and NHL playoffs. And in the NBA, we've got Golden State with a 2-0 lead over Portland. The Clippers 1-1 with Utah, with the series going to Utah. We got Houston up 2-0 on the Thunder, with the series going to Oklahoma City. The Spurs in Memphis. Spurs leading 2-0 with the series headed to Memphis. Max, you want to give us a little look on the East?
Well, in the East, Cleveland's taking it to Indiana right now, up 2-0. Toronto and Milwaukee, the Bucks and the Raptors locked in a tight 1-1-1. Going to be a fun series to watch the rest of the way. The Wizards and the Hawks. Wizards are taking it 2-0. And then the 1 versus 8, the Boston Celtics taking on the Chicago Bulls. Bulls are up 2-0 with the series shifting back to Chicago. Celtics are in trouble as the 1 seed out of the East.
Max, you want to give us a little inside look on the NHL playoffs?
Yeah, Stanley Cup playoffs a little further along than the NBA. Right now, Nashville's beating Chicago 3-0 with Game 4 coming tonight, Thursday night. St. Louis is up on Minnesota 3-1. Anaheim won the series against Calgary. They'll await the winner between Edmonton and San Jose, currently tied 2 games apiece. In the East, Montreal and the New York Rangers are tied at 2, headed to Game 5. Ottawa leading Boston 3-1. Washington Capitals are locked at 2s with the 8 seed Toronto Maple Leafs. Could be another upset there. And then another top team, the Pittsburgh Penguins and Sidney Crosby taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're up 3-1. These series are almost over, but should make for some fun hockey this weekend.
Sidney Crosby, he's the man.
He is the man.
All right. Final thing coming in the next week, NFL Draft. First round is a week from today.
That's right. Who you got? Myles Garrett, Mitchell Trubisky?
Dude, if I'm the Browns, I'm going Myles Garrett.
Absolutely.
A player like that does not come along very often. And the fact that the Browns are even having the conversation of picking someone other than Myles Garrett is absolutely absurd. Now, granted, Mitch is a good quarterback, but with 2 picks in the first 12, I believe is what the Browns have, take Myles Garrett number 1.
Absolutely.
Because more than likely, if Mitch isn't there, Deshaun Watson's going to be there with your next pick. Don't worry about trading because you're going to have another quarterback who's right there where you're picking.
Yeah, don't want to overdraft a quarterback, especially with my guy, Pat Mahomes. Watch out for him next year.
Pat Mahomes, he's climbing draft boards, man.
He sure is.
He is climbing draft boards.
Now it's time for our Taste of Baylor. And Baylor's spring football game is tomorrow, Saturday at noon. Taking the field for the Bears and suiting up in pads for the first time since his freshman year of high school will be Baylor basketball standout Ishmael Wainwright. Chris, what do you think about our friend Ish moving to the gridiron this season?
I'm excited to see Ish put on the pads and go at it. I was actually watching practice on Tuesday. Man, he's got some tremendous upside. Catches the ball, outstanding, runs. For not playing since his freshman year, his routes are a little rusty, but give him some time. He's going to be, I think he's a name to watch for next year in the Big 12 football scene.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we got. It's going to do it for episode 1 here on BNC Sports Network. Thank you all for watching this video. We truly appreciate your support. If you liked it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below, and follow us on social media at BNC Sportsnet. The links will be in the description below. We can't wait to keep making more content for you guys and sharing our opinions. Our next video will be uploaded next Friday, April 28th. Once again, he's Chris Beasley. I'm Max Calderon signing off here on BNC Sports Network. See you guys next time.